Hello YouTube, my name is Nero, and today we have some Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and this week's episode of Dear Nero, which of course is the weekly series here on my channel, where subscribers send me in fan mail and or fan questions, and I do best go and answer them. I know with Black Ops 3 just coming out, I have gotten a number of new people to the channel here that have found me via Black Ops 3, so if you guys have never seen this series before, we're well over 150 episodes into it at this point. It's a weekly Q&A, subscribers send me in questions via my YouTube personal inbox, and I go through them, and I pick some ones that I think are good for the show, and I answer them here in the video. So that's the format, nothing too complicated about it. And one of the big recurring questions I got this week was, what are my general opinions about Black Ops 3? What do I think about Black Ops 3? What's the best part about the game? What's my least favorite aspect of the game? And things like that. And I answered actually a number of these questions in a Black Ops 3 review video that I posted up earlier on this week. So if you guys would like to go ahead and check out that video, there's going to be a notation on your screen you guys can click, as was linked to it down there in the video description. You guys go ahead and check out that video and see kind of like my full-on like review, I suppose, of Black Ops 3, if you will. But overall, I'm really enjoying the game. To kind of summarize it, kind of like a too long didn't watch, I'm really enjoying the game. Black Ops 3 has been a hoot. I've been enjoying the multiplayer. I've been enjoying the zombies. I've been enjoying free run actually a ton. Like, I find myself thinking about free run. It's like, gosh, I just want to go and get better time. Like, I want to stay within the top 1,000 constantly on Blackout, the final map. Like, I just want to continue to like try and stay in the top 1,000, trying to like figure out different little things and not look up guides on it, but instead like just try and figure it out myself. And like, it's just so much fun, guys. It really is. The multiplayer is fantastic. It's just on almost on the same level as Black Ops 2 in my own opinion. Some of the stuff I'm really enjoying about the game. I love the fact that it's a new Call of Duty game. That's really the big thing. Like, some people ask like, what's my favorite aspect of the game? What's my least favorite aspect of the game? My favorite aspect of the game is the fact it's a new Call of Duty. It's by Treyarch. The guns are awesome. The maps are awesome. The kill streaks feel fun to use. There's lots of customization. There is like an unprecedented amount of customization in Black Ops 3. And my least favorite aspect of the game is, the same things that we always complain about in Call of Duty. Sometimes when you die, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's your fault. Occasionally there's connection issues, and occasionally you get into a lobby where the people on the other team are playing like timid little children and hiding from you, like up windows and stuff like that. So, your typical things that you complain about in Call of Duty. But overall, Black Ops 3 has been fantastic. But again, if you guys want to see like a full review of the game, check out that video. Link down there, of course, in the video description. Let's hop into here with some questions you guys have sent in. The first one, he is going to write, Dear Nero, I've been watching your videos for about 5 years now, and I have always watched your videos as a way to relax. I have been playing basketball for 4 years now, and last night my coach told me that I didn't make the team. Later that night, he called me saying that he changed his mind and asked me to come back, but I would be sitting on the bench a lot. On the other hand, my uncle is a wrestling coach, and I have wrestled a few years ago, but I gave it up when I switched schools. So I am thinking about wrestling this year instead of playing basketball, knowing that I would be on the bench a lot. I'm 6'2", and I run cross country and track, 16 years old, and please help me. I'm torn on what I should do. I'm not a bad athlete, but I just don't have the best fundamentals. Thank you for making great videos. Please answer my question. Nick from Ohio. So Nick, you actually didn't go into too much detail about what is your opinion of wrestling. Like, you didn't actually like mention that. You said you used to wrestle and your uncle's a wrestling coach, but when you switched schools, you gave up wrestling. Why did you give it up? Did you not enjoy wrestling? Did you not enjoy the people on the wrestling team? Did you not like the coaching staff? Like, why did you switch? I used to play basketball at my old middle school. Then when I moved, everyone knows like I moved to the town I live in now when I was going into 8th grade because my parents got divorced. I used to play basketball, but I moved here. I didn't play basketball because I didn't know really any of the people. And the people I did know that were on the team, I didn't like those people. So I didn't join the basketball team when I ended up switching schools. Was it the same for you? You didn't mention in your question. Ultimately, it comes down to you. Ultimately, it comes down to, do you think that you would enjoy wrestling more than basketball? Because you always have the possibility. That's the thing here. Nothing is set in stone when it comes to sports teams. If you want to get better at basketball, there's nothing stopping you. You could be out there in your driveway, weather permitting, practicing basketball, or go down to the local gym or something like that and playing basketball and trying to improve yourself and trying to get better and come off of the bench and kind of show your coach that you're not going to settle for sitting on the bench. You want to get up there in the starting five. You can do that. If not, if you don't want to do that necessarily, you could always go to wrestling if you would like to do that. But again, you didn't say whether or not you liked it. So ultimately, it's going to come down to you. Ultimately, it comes down to what you want to do. Personally, I think maybe you should try and work through it a little bit. The idea of like progressing through it and becoming better is something I wish I would have done when I was younger. It's not it's not completely relevant, I suppose, but when I was in Little League Baseball, which, yeah, I'm bringing up Little League Baseball here. When I was in Little League Baseball, I barely got any playtime, and I, like, always kind of blamed the coach. It's like, well, the coach doesn't like me, he's not letting me play more. But ultimately, it was because I wasn't a very good player. Right? Ultimately, it's because I was just pretty bad. You know, when I would get hit, on the rare occasion where I would get hit, I would like throw the bat, like, you know, you would like get hit and then you're supposed to just drop the bat. I would like throw it off to the side and like sometimes almost hit people with it. I would not listen to the coaches if they were to tell me to stay on base. I would always try to, like, if I hit the ball, I would always try for the double rather than like staying on first and stuff like that. I didn't have very good fundamentals. I would be terrible at throwing the ball. Like, I played outfield. I could catch the ball just fine, but I couldn't throw it very well. I was just a bad baseball player. And I didn't get a lot of playtime as a result. And I wish I would have known, like, what I know now, where I would have been like, yeah, I'm not very good. The coach doesn't, like, have a vendetta against me. It's because I'm bad. And I should probably work to improve that. And so I wish I would have done that. And you have a chance to save that, Nick. You could try to get better at basketball and not be on the bench a bunch and try to impress your coach, move up into the starting rotation. Or you could try wrestling if you enjoy wrestling. Again, you didn't actually go into too much detail with that. Next question. He is going to write... Dear Nero, I watch a lot of video game reviews, but there is something I don't always agree with. If, let's say, we take Madden, or FIFA, or Call of Duty, some reviewers would base the review of the game without comparing it to the other games in the series and take it like a totally new game. Meanwhile, other reviewers would base their score on how innovative the game is compared to the other games in the series, and if it is worth the upgrade. What do you think? Do you think that games should be reviewed like a standalone game, or like part of a series? Much love, Carl from Copenhagen, Denmark. So Carl, that's it's something, I think there's definitely an entire debate there. I think there's merit to both sides of the argument. I would say I would be in the camp that you should compare a game to previous games in the series. If a game is a part of an established series, I think it's completely relevant when you're looking at a review of the game as to how that compares to previous games. For example, Call of Duty. How is it compared to previous Call of Duty games? Is it up to snuff? If you were a big fan of, let's say, SimCity, and then like the newest SimCity, which came out in 2013, which, gosh, it doesn't seem like it came out that long ago. But if you had like SimCity 4 and then SimCity 2013 comes out, shouldn't you want to like get comparisons? Like, okay, so this is how it compares to the old SimCity 4. Should you actually upgrade? Same thing with Madden. You know, is there actually a reason for you to upgrade to the new Madden besides the rosters actually being updated? Is there new and in-depth innovative features? Like, would there be a point in that? Fallout 4. Is there a reason to upgrade to Fallout 4 if you're already a big fan of New Vegas? The answer is kind of yeah, because New Vegas came out so long ago that just graphically the game is even worth picking up just because of the big changes that they do graphically. But it's good to see the comparisons between games that are in a series. I think there's definitely some merit to that. I can see why people would like to review it as its own standalone game. That way they can try and let the game stand up on its own 2 feet and not kind of have it be compared to some of the other ones. Like, for example, Call of Duty. Always going back to Call of Duty here on the channel. I think it'd be good to like review Black Ops 3 as its own first-person shooter game and kind of comparing it that way as compared to trying to say, well, it's not exactly like the Black Ops 2 was, and as a result, that's going to be lowering down our score of it and whatnot, because at the same time, you want it to feel like its own standalone game. So I could totally see both ends of the argument, and I think there's merit to both sides of that, although I still think I'm a bit more towards the camp that if a game is part of a series, it's completely relevant information to know how it compares to other games in the series. You shouldn't just act like it's a standalone game, but at the same time, you shouldn't base your entire review as to how it compares to other games in the series, because if every single game in the series were the exact same, well, you wouldn't have much of a series then, would you? So it's definitely kind of a tough debate, and that's kind of the thing about video game critique and video game reviews. There's a lot of gray area there. I think a lot of people wish that video game critique and just critique and review in general, I wish people would realize that it's not all black and white. There is a lot of gray area there, and it's definitely not an easy thing to review games, especially as much as some people do. Like, there's a lot of YouTubers out there, there's a lot of websites and different forms of media that they review video games, they review movies, they review media in general. And it's not an easy thing. It really isn't. There's a lot of gray area to it. Next question. He is going to write, Dear Nero, recently 2 of my closest friends smoked for the first time. I'm just going to call them Toby and Carl. That is not their real names. I personally have never smoked in my life, nor do I plan to. I was shocked when Toby told me that he and Carl had smoked for the first time. I was shocked. As we fans know, you were once a smoker. So I was wondering, what should I do, or can I do anything to help my 2 friends? Your friend from across the seas, Luke from Ireland. So Luke, your 2 friends have started smoking and you're worried about that. Well, they haven't really technically started smoking. You say they've had their first cigarette. I think a lot of people they try smoking and then they maybe don't go forward with it. I mean, some people do, obviously, but I think a lot of people actually try smoking and then not as well. The best thing you could do as a friend is encourage them to not actually start. You know, the best thing you can say is, okay, you got it out of your system, you had your first cigarette, it was pretty terrible, right? Yeah, let's never start that. That's the best thing that you can do. You can try to encourage them to not start. You know the risks, they know the risks, I know the risks, you, the viewer, know the risks. Like, we all know the risks of smoking. It's stupid to even start at this point. Like, at this day and age, in 2015, soon to be 2016, how many people do you guys know personally that have died of lung cancer? Probably a lot. Probably almost a handful, like, for every single one of us. Like, it's happened a lot. It's a big thing. This isn't the 1940s anymore where people have a cigarette along with their steak and donut breakfast. It's not good for you to smoke. It's terrible. It's widely known to be terrible. And I love the fact, I love this. At the same time, it's weird because vaping has become such a big thing. But I actually love the fact that smoking is such like a socially alienating thing at this point. It used to be, back in like the 80s, early 90s and whatnot, that you were kind of cool if you were a smoker. Now it comes down to, it's like, ooh, you smoke, you smell like an ashtray, like, ugh, why would you do that? I love that we as a society are kind of like leaning towards that a bit to try and encourage people to stop, because I was a smoker as well. I started probably the same situation, Luke, that your friends started with. I was roughly 13 or so. My friends were doing it. It looked like it was going to be cool, and that's what the cool kids were doing. So I started doing it with them, and I never ended up stopping. Well, until I was like 18 or 19 when I actually quit. I've actually been nicotine-free for a couple of years now. And so as a result of that, I realized, firsthand how bad smoking can be. After like 5 years of smoking, you feel like crap. You get winded very easily. You just legitimately feel ill. It's terrible. And nicotine itself is a physical addiction. I think that's something that people don't think about when they first start. They think, hey, I'm in high school. Look, let's go be cool and smoke cigarettes and whatnot. But they don't think down the road where they start feeling terrible. They think to themselves, oh, yeah, I can just quit whenever I want. It's really not that easy. Smoking and nicotine, it's a physical addiction. It is. Like, you feel physically ill if you don't have nicotine. It's crazy. Like, you feel physically sick. It's not like a mental addiction where some people could claim like they're addicted to video games and stuff like that. No, this is a physical addiction. You will physically start shaking. You'll physically start feeling ill, and just it's horrible. You'll start sweating and whatnot for no reason. It's a terrible thing. I'm glad I stopped several years ago, and I would encourage all of you guys watching this video to never actually start. That's the best advice. If you guys have already started smoking, I mean, anyone who's a smoker or uses any nicotine product in general will tell you they wish they didn't, because it's not fun. It's actually terrible. It may seem fun when you first start, but it's really bad down the road. And Luke, the best thing you could do as a friend is encourage your friends to not continue smoking. You say they tried their first cigarette for the first time. Hopefully they got it out of their system, and now they're not going to continue on with it. But yeah, the best thing you can do is encourage them not to do it. And, you can't force them to be a smoker or not be a smoker. You can only encourage them as a friend to be like, hey, you know the risks. Why would you want to do this? Why would you want to throw your life away with this? It's a terrible habit to get into. You're slowly killing yourself with it, so on and so forth. We all know the risks. I'm not going to go with the whole DARE campaign here in this video. But, yeah, guys, please don't ever start. I care about every single one of you, and I would love for all of you guys to live as long as humanly possible. Next question. He is going to rate Dear Nero 2 choices: flying or breathing underwater, and why? Leviathan. So Leviathan, this was actually pretty easy. I think a lot of people are going to be kind of torn on this, and I would love to know in the comments, what would you guys choose? If you guys could choose like a superpower, right? Flying or breathing underwater, which one would you pick? For me, it's very easy. Flying. Totally. I would totally pick flying. Okay, breathing underwater could be cool for a number of reasons, but I live in Pennsylvania. The closest water is Lake Erie, which is like an hour away from here. Like, breathing underwater would not do a big thing. It would be a big deal for me. Oh boy, I could go swim in the creek, or I could like, I don't know, swim in like a pond and stuff like that, and like just breathe underwater. But here's the thing: like, you can go in the ocean and you can breathe underwater. There's some scary stuff down there in the ocean, man. I wouldn't want that. But flying is something that I could do all the time, as long as I didn't get caught. Because I have a feeling if they were to catch you flying, like, they would like take you to like a government facility and like experiment on you or something. But like, I could like go out there, because I live in Pennsylvania. I live in like rural Pennsylvania for the most part. Like, there's not a lot of, like, I live in a very small town. There's not a lot of big towns around here. Like, I could just go out there on a dirt road somewhere and be like, all right, well, there's no one around. All right, so let's just jump up in the air a little bit. And I assume like you can like hover a little bit. Like, you say you can fly. Like, that doesn't mean I need to be 37,000 feet in the air. Like, I could be 5 feet in the air. And I could just like glide through the woods and whatnot, flying that way, or fly just slightly above the trees like a bird. And if I see a person, or if I hear people, just whoop, go right back down to the ground and hide from them or something like that, so they wouldn't end up seeing me, or just, do stuff like that. That would be cool. Flying would be the best way to go. It really would be. Then you could also do some really cool stuff like, I don't know, you could like go climb to like go to like a top of like a mountain or something like that, or like a big hill or something, I don't know, and jump off of it, right? And then last second activate your little flying power, and then you're good. You can have like a rush of like jumping off of stuff, and that'd be fun. I think it'd be cool. Flying without a doubt for me. There is some merit, I suppose, to breathing underwater, but for me it's like, why would you do that when you could fly? That sounds so much better. Next question, he is going to write, Dear Nero, I was wondering, since your Xbox gamer tag is SB Nero, are you a part of Strictly Business? If not, what does SB mean? Aaron from everywhere. So Aaron, I've actually answered this question a number of times, but it's a question that I get so frequently because there's so many new viewers in and out all the time. People want to know why I have SB in my name. So the SB in my gamer tag, SB Nero, does in fact stand for Strictly Business, but it is not the Strictly Business that you're thinking of. There is a Strictly Business competitive team out there, and I'm not a part of that team. There's also like a sniper team called like Spacebound. I think it's like Spacebound Universe. There's a bunch of SBs like here on YouTube and within Call of Duty in general. Mine is not affiliated with any of those. So Strictly Business was a clan, I suppose, that I made back in like 2009, which primarily consisted of my friends and a few subscribers of an old YouTube channel I had at the time. I actually held tryouts for it. And we were basically like a pub stomping team for the most part, although like we didn't like make like pub stomping videos and whatnot. We just were basically all people that were like kind of friends, and we all played together, and we all had SB in our gamer tag, and that was it. You see my clan tag in my videos, it's SBFC. That means Strictly Business Friendship Club, and it's always so funny because people are like always get so hardcore with the idea of like a clan or a team and whatnot. So we decided the remaining few of us here that are still around from back in the days where we used to go by Strictly Business, we call ourselves a friendship club, because instead of being a team or a clan or whatever, we friendship club's more fun. So yeah, there's only a few of us left. There's SB Cypher, myself. Well, that's about it, actually. That's actually about all. There's some people that were around from back then, like my brother and stuff like that, but for the most part, it was a group of people that I used to play with way back in the day, like Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 2, and stuff like that. We all had SB in our name. We used to play every day together. Like, we used to have so many people on all the time that we would have to break up into 2 different groups to go play Ground War, because we would have, like, more than 9 people on at any given time. And we were always just playing, always in party chats, always just yucking up and having a very good time. They were all like my online friends. These were like my best buds, throughout like high school and whatnot, online wise anyway, because these are people I always played with. But as life tends to do, it gets in the way, and a lot of these people, they end up getting married. A lot of these people ended up going to college, getting jobs, getting careers, and a lot of them just don't game anymore. And I haven't talked to a lot of them in a number of years. Like, a lot of them just kind of slowly faded away from gaming, and Cypher is really the only one left I talk to on a consistent basis, really. So yeah, I never changed my gamer tag though away from SB Nero, because we used to all be Strictly Business and whatnot, but I never changed away my gamer tag. I don't ever really plan to. It's been my gamer tag since 2010, something like that. I don't know. So I just don't really see a reason to get rid of it. I actually remember specifically when I made Team SB. It was before Black Ops 1 came out. It was like at the end of Modern Warfare 2, pre Black Ops 1 is when I made the team initially. I remember like the tryout video and whatnot. But that was on an old channel, and that channel is no longer around. So you can't see the video anymore. But yeah, so it's been my gamer tag forever, and I just think it'd be weird to change it because I've had it for so long, and so I'm going to continue to have it. And continue to get asked, what does SB mean, every single day, it feels like, in the future. But I'm more than happy to occasionally answer that question, because there's a lot of people that don't know the story behind it. Next question, he is going to write, Dear Nero, I just finished watching your latest episode of Dear Nero. Much thanks for answering my question, by the way. And one thing you said really got to me. It was going to be a great week for gamers. However, I feel that only applies if you are a gamer with a next-gen system. As foolish as it sounds, me, a dragon, is limited by the currency of my family and myself, and thus must find a mortal job in order to procure a next-gen system if I have any hopes of playing Fallout 4 and Black Ops 3. My question, therefore, is, how long did it take you to find a job? Where did you apply within your town before working for Walmart? And do you have any tips on how to find a job? Any help is appreciated. Have an excellent day, Lord of Dragons, Draconian. So I actually laughed really hard when I was reading through this question for the first time before I featured it here on the show. I thought it was really well put together. I thought it was funny. It was awesome. So what did I do for like a job? Like before YouTube, a lot of people know I unload trucks at Walmart. The technical term was an inventory associate. That's what I did before YouTube. And before that, my first ever job was I was a customer service representative for AT&T. Essentially, I was the person that you would call and complain about if your bill was too high. And I would be like, oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll get right on that, sir. Oh, yes, sir. That is awfully high bill. Yes, sir. I don't think you're an idiot. Oh, yes, sir. Let me work on this here. And like, really, there's nothing I can do about it. But, you know, I would just talk to these people anyway. That's what I did as my first ever job. Finding a job is difficult, especially like depending on your area. I live in a very small town, and there's not a lot of job opportunities here. And when there are some, you know, they typically get filled up quick. And typically they're not jobs that you would really want to have as kind of like a long-term career. Like a lot of the jobs around here are actually like, or the ones that people apply for anyway, are like working at McDonald's, working at Burger King, working as a cashier, working at like Little Caesars Pizza, working at Walmart, you know, stuff like that. That's what a lot of people end up going for. There are some better opportunities out there, but you just have to work harder for them. Like around here anyway, there's a lot of plastics places, like actual plastic manufacturers, or machine shops where you like sit and like you work a machine all day and whatnot. Those jobs actually pay ridiculously well, but just people don't want to do it because they're worried it's going to be too hard. They're worried they're not going to understand it that well and things like that. What advice do I have for you to find a job? The best thing you can do is apply everywhere. It's like, it's what everybody tells you, I swear. But apply as many places as possible. Call these places frequently. Be like, hey, yay, remember me? I put in an application. I'm here to get the job. I'm here for the work. I'm here to do the stuff, you know, and it can be difficult. Trust me, I know. It took me a very long time to find a job until I finally got hired for AT&T, and I quickly realized how terrible a job that was. Then I ended up getting a job at Walmart. And then, of course, I started doing YouTube. But it can definitely be difficult. Don't get unmotivated, I suppose. That's one thing. Like, people apply like to 3 places. And they're like, well, I applied, but they're just not hiring, I guess. But no, you actually call them. You got to stop in now and again. Be like, hey, I just checked up on my application here. I just wanted to see, you know, how things are going. I know it's so hard. It's the old catch-22. Like, people don't want to hire you because you have no job experience, but you can't get job experience because nobody wants to hire you. I know that's definitely a difficult thing. I know a lot of you are probably going through that. And best advice is the same advice everyone else gives you guys. Continue to apply as many places as possible, and maybe lower your standards a little bit. I think a lot of people are kind of like holding out like that dream job, I suppose. But, you know, a job at like McDonald's isn't the worst thing in the world if you get your foot in the door and get some cash in your pocket. It really isn't the worst thing in the world. You know, my brother is actually in the same situation. You know, he's recently turned 18. He needs to find a job. You know, he's been looking. He's been applying around a lot. But he kind of like refuses to like apply to like fast food places and whatnot because he hates the idea of it. He thinks he's going to make him sick of the food and whatnot. He just doesn't think he would enjoy it. And I can definitely see that aspect of it. But I think to some people, if you're really kind of strapped for it, if you really need to get money, maybe lowering your expectations and working a job that maybe you wouldn't want to work necessarily would also be a good choice for you. Also, try other things that maybe you don't think you'd be good at, but who knows, you might actually be good at. Like, a lot of people are like intimidated by the idea of working at like a machine shop and stuff like that. But usually right out of the gate, people, if you like get a job at a machine shop, they're not gonna like throw you right on a machine and like, hey, go do the thing, make it work. Like, they're either gonna train you or they're gonna start you off somewhere lower, like sweeping floors and stuff like that, and getting paid ridiculously well to do that. And then slowly they train you and they work you up until you can actually work on that stuff. There's a wide variety of options out there, guys. But obviously, it's very difficult to find a job a lot of the time. But don't give up hope, and I have faith in you, and you guys are the future of America, or wherever else it is you live, I don't know. And I believe in all of you, because you guys are all awesome. Next and final question, he is going to write, Dear Nero, I was eating Airheads while watching your last Dear Nero, and I was wondering, what is your favorite candy? Also, do you prefer sour or sweet candy? Keep up the absolutely outstanding work, Dave from Detroit. So, Dave, to answer the latter half of the question first, which do I prefer, sour or sweet candy? Definitely sweet candy. I'm not a big fan of sour. I'm really not. Just never really liked it much. Sweet is much better in my opinion. As for the first half of the question, what is my favorite candy? That actually changes around, but right now I'm totally digging these, which I know how great this sounds on a microphone. But these are Werther's Originals, which I'm sure you guys have actually heard of these, right? They're basically they're little caramel hard candies that like grandmas keep in like their purses and whatnot, right? So they're basically that. But these ones are caramel apple filled. They're freaking amazing. So basically take like your normal like your normal. I'm sure you guys are like all googling what these look like right away. But basically take like your normal caramel hard candy, right? But make it kind of like in the shape of a ball, and then have that ball be filled with like caramel apple, like green apple kind of like gooey filling. It's freaking amazing. They're seriously the best thing ever. Like last time I was at the store, I bought like 4 of these things because I don't know if they're a seasonal thing or not because it's like fall right now, but I hope they never go away because they're the greatest thing in the world, and I just seriously like munch on these things all day while making videos and playing games. Like as of late, you know, with Black Ops 3, Fallout 4 and all that stuff, and the new Hearthstone adventure and whatnot, I've been playing a lot of video games, as you might imagine, and I've been eating these like the whole time. They're freaking amazing. I love them. Totally recommend them. They're actually not very expensive either. So next time you're at your local CVS or Rite Aid or Walmart or store that supplies candy, definitely pick up these guys. They're so freaking good. Totally recommend it. And tweet me a picture if you do. I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. It sounds like I am, but I just like when you guys send me stuff on Twitter. So ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude this week's episode of Dear Nero. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, remember to leave a rating or whatever you guys feel it deserves. Now typically Dear Nero goes up every single Wednesday, so stay tuned for that next week. Now, I ended up missing it this week because I had to make room for Black Ops 3 videos, but next week we should be back on the regular schedule of uploading Dear Nero every single Wednesday. If you guys would like to check out the audio-only version of Dear Nero, every single week I upload it to soundcloud.com/NerosCinema, so you guys can download Dear Nero and take it with you on the go. But if you guys would like to submit your questions for the next episode of Dear Nero, simply send me a personal message here on YouTube. It's a very simple process, guys. You go to my YouTube channel, then you go to all the different tabs, find the About tab, and from there you'll find the Send Message button. But keep in mind, if you're doing that on mobile, you're going to need to request to view your YouTube app in your desktop browser format, because then they'll actually show you a Send Message button. I don't know what's up with YouTube, man. I don't know why they can't have a Send Message button on mobile, but they just don't seem to want to do that. So if you guys would like to do that, you have to review it in desktop mode, essentially. But yeah, that's how you submit your question. If I could request one thing from you guys, it's to actually make it so the beginning of your question has Dear Nero at the very beginning, like have it prefaced with Dear Nero. That way, when I'm scrolling through all my messages, it's very easy for me to identify the ones that were specifically sent for Dear Nero as compared to ones that may have been sent for other things. Well, once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to leave a rating, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.